I would like to begin on a personal note. When I was a child, I was taken by my maternal grandfather, who was a great admirer of Aurobindo and who was living in Madras after his retirement, to Pondicherry, which is now known as Puducherry, for a visit to the Aurobindo ashram there. The visit to the ashram of Sri Aurobindo was an overwhelming experience for me, and I became a great admirer of Aurobindo, child though I was. And I remain a great admirer of Aurobindo to this day. An admirer of Sri Aurobindo, the scholar, the teacher, the revolutionary, the yogi, the philosopher, the mystic, the prose writer, and the poet. It is with Sri Aurobindo the poet that we shall concern ourselves today. Aurobindo made a unique contribution to Indian poetry in English by writing highly philosophical poems, poems steeped in mysticism, and above all by writing Savitri, which runs into something like 24,000 lines of blank verse and which is one of the longest poems in world literature. One of the most famous and most commonly anthologized poems of Sri Aurobindo is Trance of Waiting. It is frequently used as study material in schools and colleges in India. Trance of Waiting. What is trance? Trance is a special mental condition. It is a mental state in which the person loses full control over himself. The person is incapable of responding to external stimuli. The person finds himself in a state between sleep and wakefulness. Trance is a dreamlike state which overcomes a person when he is awake. A person in a trance is somewhat like a person under hypnosis. He is not fully conscious of himself and his environment. He does not know what is happening to himself and what is happening around him. Trance of waiting. The speaker finds himself in a trance and he is waiting for something. The speaker finds himself in a trance while he is waiting for something. What is that something? That something is the ultimate experience. That something is the experience of the infinite. That something is the visit of the divine. You must remember that in the Hindu religion, God is not a person or a force. God is not the Father or the Son or the Spirit. God is not somebody sitting up there in the clouds. In his book, The Hindu Way of Life, Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan explains that according to Hinduism, God is an insight, darshana. God is an experience, anubhava. It is this that the speaker in trance of waiting is waiting for. The speaker is preparing for his experience of the infinite, anubhava, for an insight into the divine, darshana. And the speaker finds himself in a joyous trance. And it is this state that is the subject matter of the poem. What is waiting? Waiting is remaining where one is, staying where one is, doing nothing, expecting something. And waiting has a very important role in the spiritual process. If you are not prepared to wait, you are not ready to receive spiritual enlightenment. Waiting is something very important. Don't trivialize it. Don't think that waiting is something lowly. All great spiritual achievements require the quality of waiting. I'm reminded of the last line, the famous last line of John Milton's sonnet on his blindness. They also serve who only stand and wait. I repeat, they also serve who only stand and wait. Let us read the first line of the poem. Lone on my summits of calm, I have brooded with voices around me. The spiritual quest is a lonely quest, and the spiritual quester is always alone. For one thing, spirituality is not everyone's cup of tea. For another, spiritual enlightenment arrives only for a particular individual. It never ever arrives for a group. The speaker in this poem is alone. He finds himself on a summit of calm, lone on my summits of calm. Summit means peak, summit means the highest point of a mountain. Lone on my summits of calm, lone on my summits of calm. The speaker is alone. The speaker is on the peaks of calm, the peaks of silence. I think it's better to interpret this in a metaphorical way. The speaker has reached great heights in his spiritual journey, and all that remains is to receive enlightenment. Right now, he is on his summits of calm, which can be interpreted in a metaphorical manner, which can be best interpreted in a metaphorical manner. But we have instances of spiritual questers climbing real mountains, real hills to meditate and reach spiritual enlightenment. Lone on my summits of calm, I have brooded. To brood means to engage in deep thought with voices around me. How do we interpret this? The speaker is on the peaks of silence. He is a spiritual quester. He is engaged in deep thought, and there are voices around him. Perhaps the best way to interpret this is to read it in quite a literal manner. I have heard that as part of the spiritual journey towards enlightenment, many questers have experiences of hearing voices from nowhere. Sri Aurobindo himself is an excellent example. He was arrested for his alleged involvement in the Alipur bomb case and kept in solitary confinement in the Alipur Central Jail in 1908 1909. When he was in his cell, he heard the voice of Swami Vivekananda. Now, not once, but repeatedly, over days, over weeks. And the voice became a sort of guiding voice to him. So the speaker is on the peaks of calm. He is a spiritual quester. He is engaged in deep thought, and there are voices around him. Another interpretation of the last part of the line would be that the voices are of people around the speaker who are not interested in spiritual enlightenment. They are very worldly people. They are engaged in worldly pursuits. And the speaker is hearing their voices as if in a dream, as if in a trance. And he is a spiritual quester in search of enlightenment.